You know, even though these Nintendo Directs are just mini Nintendo Direct partner showcases, is it just me or does it feel more or less like Nintendo has gotten back on track when it comes to Nintendo Switch announcements? Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. In this video, we're going to talk about that strange Nintendo Direct and why it was so strange and all the Nintendo Switch games that were shown, because there were some pretty cool Nintendo Switch games shown. So like I said in my past video, Nintendo has been announcing a lot of Nintendo Switch games lately, which is a blessing in disguise because we were going a very long time without any games being announced at all. Now in the past 2 months, we have had Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, 2 Monster Hunter games, Pikmin 3, the Super Mario 3D Collection, and Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser. A lot of really good Nintendo Switch games being announced for the console, and I fully expect maybe a trailer drop with a release date for Bravely Default before December. And speaking of Monster Hunter Rise was revealed at the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase for September of 2020, and it actually looks really good. I'm very interested in that movement mechanic that they showed off because it seems like it's gonna make Monster Hunter combat more fast and fluid, as well as traversal more fun. Now, even though I did love Monster Hunter Rise, I'd be lying if I said Monster Hunter Stories 2 looks more interesting to me. Monster Hunter Story looks like it has a really cool story, and it seems like some of the monsters might help you in combat too, but that was part of cinematic, so I'm not 100% sure on that. And it seems that you have some kind of connection to the monsters, and then there's something driving them away from their natural habitat, which is of course a big part of Monster Hunter 2. And of course the cool art style, which I tend to gravitate towards, and it's a game that I'm definitely looking forward to. I would say more than Monster Hunter Rise, though I am still looking forward to Monster Hunter Rise 2. And the next game was a boxing game, which, I mean, cool I guess, but the game wasn't really for me. Now the next game is definitely for me. You guys know that I love RPGs, and Disgaea is a game that I've never really gotten into, like I said in the stream, and it's being highly praised by a lot of people for a long run of games that are fantastic, so the fact that a new one's coming to the Nintendo Switch is my perfect chance to get into Disgaea. And side note, I love the fact that the levels and damage in this game are just a ridiculous amount. Now not only did they show Disgaea 6, but they also showed Disgaea 5 that's going to be free to play for everyone who has the subscription service for Nintendo's online service. Now this is going to run between the 23rd and the 29th of this month, so make sure you try it out if you haven't played any Disgaea games like I have, and it'll be your perfect chance to try them. The next game is Empire of Sun, which looked interesting, but I wouldn't say that it's really the highlight of the Direct, or really even for me too much. Sniper Elite 4 on the other hand, that is a really good game that's going to hit the Switch. I have it on PS4, so I personally wouldn't buy it for the Nintendo Switch, but if I didn't have the Switch, I'd probably be thinking of picking up this game on the console. The next game they showed was a golfing game, which, okay, I guess there are some people who own a Nintendo Switch who would want to play golf on the Switch, but the game after that is Ballad Wonderworld. Now, if I'm being 100% honest with you guys, this game doesn't really look like it's for me. Now, it does have some kind of charm to it, and it has the 80 costumes that change the mechanics of the game, but I don't think I'm going to be picking this up. But you know what I will pick up is Ruin Factory 5. Now, it's like I said in the stream, I have been meaning to play these series for a very long time, and it seems like the mechanics of this game is somewhere between the Final Fantasy and the simulator side of Animal Crossing and Persona, which sounds really cool. And the last one is Ori and the Will-O-Wisp, and oh my god, I need to pick up this game right now. Honestly, if I had the money to pick it up, I would. Maybe even the collector's edition, because the collector's edition does look really good and I really want it. Now, Ori was the last game shown at the September Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase, though I think they did go into detail on Monster Hunter Rise a little later, but the question is, how good was this Nintendo Direct? Now, a lot of people in the chat said they didn't enjoy this Nintendo Direct, but I gotta say, I disagree with you guys, respectfully of course. I enjoyed this Direct. I walked away with 3 games that I planned to get: Ori, Ruin Factory, and Monster Hunter. Actually 4 when you consider there were 2 Monster Hunter games, that being Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Story 2. And if I didn't own Sniper Elite on the PS4, I probably would have bumped it up to 5 games. So as for wanting to make me play these games and buy these games on the Nintendo Switch, it did a really good job. So why was this Nintendo Direct weird? Well, even though I did say that Nintendo was getting back on track when it comes to announcements for the Nintendo Switch. It feels like the old days, in which the old days meaning 1 year ago for Nintendo news, but there were some games that I think could have been in here. For one, Bravely Default is a 2020 game as far as we know, and there hasn't been any word on this game since the announcement for the demo, if I recall, and that was a pretty long time ago, so I would think that Nintendo has something for us, like a Bravely Default release date along with a new trailer, but it wasn't here. Now, of course, there's always a chance to get a Bravely Default release date and a Bravely Default trailer in a partner showcase before January, so there's that. But I can think of 2 other games that should have been in this partner showcase, or it would have been nice to be in this partner showcase. Now, there's always a chance to get a Bravely Default release date before January at another partner showcase for a Nintendo Direct before January, so there's still that, but other games like Pokemon Snap, which is being made by Bandai Namco, could have been there, I think. Or even Bayonetta 3, which last we heard about that game, it was doing A-OK in the development department, so it's kind of weird that it's not at this Nintendo Direct. Now, one thing that could be happening here is that Nintendo wants to keep some of these games to spread them out over the course of the next couple months until that full Nintendo Direct, where we'll see those huge Nintendo Switch games that set up 2021, which will be shown off like Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4. Because in my mind, I don't think Nintendo is going to have a full general Nintendo Direct until January at the earliest, which is 2021. And who knows, maybe we'll get that 4K Nintendo Switch revealed or at least teased in 2021 also, which is probably wishful thinking, but you never really know. Especially when it comes to Nintendo, because when you're trying to guess what Nintendo is doing or what their plans are, you can never really guess exactly what their plans are. And moving on to the second topic of this video, it's about the Super Mario 3D All-Star games, which I'll be streaming today, by the way, because I am picking that up from Best Buy. Now, the Super Mario 3D All-Star games and just the whole Super Mario 35th Anniversary games were rumored for a very long time. The idea of these huge Mario games coming to the Switch was a grand and fantastic idea, and when the rumor popped up that it was coming that week, everyone was excited. And then it got announced, and it was not really what we were expecting, or at least not what I was personally expecting. From what I can tell, there didn't seem to be a giant improvement over the games aside from HUD elements, UI, and of course a resolution bump. You still saw some blurry textures and outdated graphics that you have seen in the original games, not to mention the limited release of the Mario Collection 2, which is sort of a hot button topic for Nintendo fans. And if you want to hear my thoughts on that, you can click the top right corner right now. But one thing that no one really knows is this an emulation or is it a remaster? And according to Digital Foundry, it's kind of both. So from what I understand from the video that they made, it's mostly emulation aside from the few parts of the game. Now, why does this exactly matter, and what does it mean for games going forward that release in a similar fashion? Well, a couple things actually. It means it's not exactly a remaster of the original games and nowhere near what they did with the previous All-Star games, with the previous ones back on the SNES, I believe, being almost a remake. From what I can tell from the Digital Foundry video, they said they built it from the ground up. What they did with that All-Stars is more closer to a remake than a remaster, actually. Now, this isn't even really a bad thing per se. This means that a lot of older games could come back in a similar fashion, which means we could have that good old Virtual Console make its way back. I mean, we could be seeing GameCube games and N64 games on Nintendo Switch, which would be really cool. And even if it wasn't the Virtual Console, huge games like Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale Darkness could see a return to the Nintendo Switch as maybe a bundle or maybe separate releases. These fantastic games will no longer be stuck on previous hardware, which is actually kind of exciting but also disappointing at the same time, because the downside is that it gives Nintendo a way to not do full remakes of these games, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, but one that has its benefits. Could you imagine a Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and Pokemon Coliseum full remake, like from the ground up? That would be really cool. But those are just my thoughts. Maybe you didn't join this stream. Tell me what you thought of the mini Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to Robo Gaming for more gaming news. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.